Hi, this is Deborah from My Accessible Life, and I am talking to my 17-year-old because I wanted to get his fresh and honest opinion about the Trayvon Martin the George Zimmerman trial, but the Trayvon Martin incident. I don't want to use language that will color his opinion, because I really just want to find out what he honestly thinks. And you were telling me that while you were at work today, that you were engaged in a conversation with some of your other colleagues who are apprentices through the Artworks program. What did this person say to you? I mean, what did she say? Did she ask you if you were upset about?
No, she just asked. She said, I'm upset. Zimmerman got off. He should be locked up. And I'm like, yeah, that's tragic. Trayvon Martin died. And she said, no, you're not ticked off.
And how did you respond to that?
I just said, no, I'm not really. I mean, should I be? And she's like, yes, you should. No, he ran up and killed that boy. He attacked him. You should be mad for him. Okay. And I'm like, in my opinion, it honestly doesn't make a bit of difference in my life. Getting pissed off isn't gonna bring him back to life. It's not gonna raise him from the dead. It's not gonna put Zimmerman behind bars. Not going to correct a year of wrongful history.
Okay, but you know what? Because you're only 17, a lot of people will say that you're not aware that this is the kind of history that has been going on with African American men and women, and now other minorities, sometimes even including Caucasian Americans. But we have African Americans, Jamaican Americans, people of color, have had a history of this since before slavery, of not being treated like human beings, with kindness, with dignity, with respect. We have the incident of the woman who fired a warning shot to ward off her abusive husband, and now she's in jail in the same state, I believe in Florida, with the stand your ground thing, and she gets 20 years and no parole, or at least I don't know when her parole is supposed to take place. There's just countless incidents, if you go back through history, of Caucasian Americans killing people of color, African Americans, Jamaican Americans, black people, Negroes, whatever. It just depends on how they were labeling people of color at that time. People of color. And it has gone on. I remember being in high school and being incensed and outraged because a man, I believe, if I remember correctly, this is from the 80s now, was hung in Pepper Pike. And I wrote a letter to Ronald Reagan, and I didn't get a response, but I felt that I had to do something because it took place, it happened, and I wasn't hearing or reading in the newspaper where anything happened to the people, where nothing happened to the people who committed this travesty. And when you have a group of people who have such a history of being abused and murdered and killed and treated unfairly, this is probably where the incense, the rage, the frustration comes from. So I agree with you on one hand that by you being upset is not going to change the circumstances, but at the same time, I would hope you understand the reason why people are so frustrated. And I realize that it actually hasn't touched you. But wait a minute, yes it did. Do you want to relay the incident that happened with the police officer here where we live? Do you remember it?
I forget what happened.
Well, there was a person who stole a bike, and he stole a bike that looked very similar to yours, and he had on clothing that was similar to yours.
Or so the officer said.
So the officer said. And how did you feel about that? He stops you, asks you all these questions, and when you say, he asks you, what did you do with the bike? And you say, what bike? I don't know what you're talking about. Just...
No, it wasn't just that, When the first guy stopped me, he was cool about it. He was asking me the questions calmly. I respected him for that. But then I had 3 or 4 other cruisers, like, screeching up the street, stopping at the curb around me. And there was this, second guy that approached me that started, getting aggressive and interrogative.
Did he put his hands on you?
No.
Okay.
It said he asked, what did you do with the bag? Which I assume was like a bag of cash or other stolen goods or whatever. And I said, I don't have a bag. And that's when he got aggressive. He said, we know you don't have a bag. We know you don't have the bag. What did you do with it?
Okay.
The dispatch said over the radio, it's an 18-year-old male. And when I showed him my ID, he saw I was only 17.
16 at the time.
Or 16, yeah.
Okay, so that incident in and of itself are just the reason why there were 150 Skittles-tossing protesters downtown Cleveland today. Now, I called the police and spoke to the officer and told him how I felt about the whole thing, and he was very apologetic. I actually spoke to both officers, the one that you said that was aggressive and the one that you said you felt was pretty cool about it. I spoke to both of them. But the reason why people are so incensed is that Trayvon Martin's father didn't just get to go to the police station and pick up his son after he was interrogated or questioned. He most likely picked his son up at the morgue or had to identify him at the morgue. And so this is the reason why people are incensed, outraged, upset, frustrated. And it's not only people of color, African Americans, Jamaican Americans. It's not only people of color. There are a lot of other Americans, regardless, I can't name all the ethnicities, that are also incensed because it shows the injustice of our justice system. And that's why people are frustrated, upset, and that it has gone from just being a situation of race profiling and so forth and so on to this could happen to anyone. This could happen to anyone's son, anyone's child. And after that incident happened with you, I was really leery about you running errands and on your bicycle and always wanting you to be on the sidewalk, and your bicycle is registered with the city that suburb that we live in, and why I always want you to toe the line. But there are people in this country that don't have to worry about that. They're not telling their kid, well, be careful, stay on the sidewalk, don't wear certain colors, or oh my God, whatever you do, don't wear a hoodie or have Skittles if you're in Florida. White America doesn't experience that. And that's the frustration, because even though I don't tell you every single time you walk out the door to toe the line and be respectful, and I'm praying that that's what you're doing. And I'm really grateful to God that the situation that you experienced last year, it could have turned out worse. I could have been Trayvon Martin's mom, and your dad could have been Trayvon Martin's dad. And so that's the reason why, probably why your colleague at work was frustrated and didn't understand why you're not frustrated. But at the same time, I understand how getting frustrated to the point where it's affecting your own health is probably not the most effective thing to do. Personally, me, myself, I went and signed a petition at the NAACP because I felt I had to do something. I wanted to do something to show my support. I did black out my Facebook page picture for a day, but that felt like it wasn't enough. So I signed the petition. And whenever the Martin family puts up some kind of fund where you can make donations for their defense in a civil trial or whatever kind of trial comes up from here on forward, I plan to make a donation. So I just want to thank you for your candid and honest, and that, that I didn't make you try to see things my way, because I was incensed as a mom. I was outraged. I just didn't show it outwardly, but this morning after you left to go to work and I texted you and knew that you were safely there, I cried because I did get to hug you last night after we watched the family movie, and texted you this morning and knew that you were safely at work. And that's not something that the Martin family will experience again. All they have is their memories of Trayvon. So, this is a candid interview with my 17-year-old about his feelings about the Trayvon Martin. But okay, we talked about Trayvon Martin, but how do you feel about George Zimmerman, if you can say that really quickly? What do you feel about him in getting off and so forth and so on?
I could care less as long as he doesn't come up to Ohio or kill somebody else and have to go to trial for it, because then I'm going to start getting suspicious maybe. Especially if it winds up being another, child of color, not just...
So you don't care that he got off right now? When you say you don't care, what do you mean by that?
I don't really feel anything over it.
Are you mad that he got off? Do you think it was unfair?
No, I'm actually not mad.
Do you think that it was unfair?
Maybe. Looking from the Martin family's view, yeah.
Okay, and so you think, as far as from his viewpoint, do you think that he had a right to do what he did?
I don't know, because I've heard two different stories. One where Zimmerman just up and just up and shot shot Trayvon from behind, just without warning, just up and started beating him up and then shot him to death. Then another where Zimmerman, I think, did go back to his car, but then Trayvon followed him back. A scuffle ensued, and Trayvon started getting the upper hand. And
right. So basically, what you're saying is that because the media portrayed so many different sides, you don't really know what is the real true story of what went on.
No.
So that's why you can't really form a solid opinion of whether you feel that he was in the right or in the wrong.
Yeah, or get emotional over it. If I knew the right story, I might feel something, but I don't know what the truth is. So, like I said, I could not care less at this point.
Well, it's not that you don't care. It's just that you're not really sure what really went on. And so it's not that you don't care, because, as you said earlier, if this were to happen where we live, or he would do something like this again, it would make you upset. So it's just that you don't really have a clear understanding as to which side or what really is the truth. Because the media could be playing this for what it is, or for more than what it is. And and it's really a perplexing situation to be in, because you want to be for the side of justice. And the side of justice says that, to me, in my opinion, that Zimmerman should have received some kind of time, something. I don't know, manslaughter, murder too, something. But 6 women in Florida, Caucasian women, said differently, saw something completely different. So it's really hard to know what the truth is, but I know for me, I feel as a mom that a great injustice happened. And even more so because there are good stories out there, like the story about Tamar Boggs, who's 15 and helped the police find a missing 5-year-old girl. And not many people are talking about that right now. And I'm just hoping that they will discuss Tamar Boggs. And I don't know if a rally is the right thing to do, but something positive to celebrate this young man who helped the police find a missing 5-year-old. If you don't know about the story, Google Tamar Boggs. He's on Facebook, and the story about what he did to help police is on the internet. All right, well, thank you for stopping by my channel and enjoying this candid conversation with my 17-year-old.